Yeah, there's a big reason why both candidates spend so much time in the state of Michigan, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, having at least 50 separate events over the last few months, as many as 90 events if you count some of their surrogates going back to February. They see the potential to win this state, a state that is certainly a swing state to the fullest. Only about 1 percentage point in the major polls separates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. And there are even more competitive races down ballot. A key Senate race between Alyssa Slotkin versus Mike Rogers, as well as 2 open congressional House seats that are up for grabs. It could help determine the complexion of both the House and the Senate when the new Congress is sworn in January. I did have a chance to catch up with Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson a little bit earlier. She said that so far the election day has gone smooth. She expects that the tally of counting will go, though, into the night, and though she expects that we will have formal results in Michigan sometime on Wednesday afternoon. And while, of course, there are a lot of serious issues being debated here in this election, it's not all serious business, Joe and Kaylee. In fact, one of the hottest items out here right now, one of the biggest souvenirs, are those I voted stickers. You know, kind of those boring stickers with the American flag. Well, Michigan had a contest where they invited people to come up with their own designs for I voted stickers. 9 designs won, and they are creative, to be sure. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but one of the winners is right at the top. This is Joyce, a middle schooler from Grosse Pointe, Michigan. This is a depiction of a werewolf ripping off his shirt, Hulkamania style, with I voted in the background.
Fantastic.
This is the kind of color we need on election night. Bloomberg's Romaine Bostick reporting live from Detroit. Thank you so much. And now we turn to Raleigh, North Carolina, where we find Bloomberg's Anna Edgerton. Anna, it's not just about the presidential race where you are, but also a key gubernatorial one.
That's right. We've been to 2 polling places here in North Carolina, one in Democratic-leaning Raleigh and one in Clayton, a small town in the next county over in a much more rural area. And honestly, it's been a mixed bag at both. We've seen people who are very passionate for Donald Trump, people who are very passionate for Kamala Harris, and also a lot of people who are just exasperated. They have been inundated with text messages and political ads. Everyone is just ready for it to be over, whether or not they are eagerly awaiting the results or are less invested in the outcome. Everyone's just ready for it to be over. Counties like Johnston County, where we were earlier today, is one of those ring counties around metro areas that really will determine who wins North Carolina. They have gotten an influx of people since the last presidential election, and we will see today whether or not they are voting more like the rural counties they used to be or more like the suburban counties that they're quickly becoming.
Right. Bloomberg's Anna Edgerton. Thank you so much, Anna, in North Carolina. As we reach now for the big prize tonight, Pennsylvania, and in Philadelphia is Bloomberg's David Gura. David, they just started counting the early ballots this morning. This could be a long wait.
Could be a long wait. I suspect many Pennsylvanians would sympathize with the North Carolinians that Anna was mentioning just a moment ago. They, too, have been inundated by ads and outreach over the course of these last many months. And I got a lot of good counsel to take a nap this afternoon to rest up for a long night ahead. Of course, I was on the phone. I was calling local offices and texting with them as well just to see what turnout has been like across this state. And to a T, everyone told me that the lines have been long. The turnout has been extraordinary. And I should say there have not been many problems at those polling places across this state, in places like Monroe County and Lackawanna County. I do want to note there have been a few irregularities, if you can call them that. There were some delays in a couple places in this state, and the courts have intervened here to extend voting in a couple of those places in Lucerne County, which is outside of Scranton. At one particular polling place, there was a delay this morning. A judge has said it can stay open now until 9:30, so an hour and a half later than scheduled, and folks can cast provisional ballots there if they want to or need to. Another place is Cambria County, that is outside of Pittsburgh in this state. Some delays there this morning as well. There's a 2-hour extension there. Again, what voters will be able to do at those places is cast provisional ballots. Those will not be counted by law until Friday of this week. But, Joe, you mentioned the process that's been underway here. Early voting in this state happens by mail-in ballots. Folks got them weeks ago, filled them out, returned them via U.S. Postal Service, or brought them to their local offices. They waited there. They were cured. They couldn't be opened until today. I checked in with Allegheny County, another big county in this state. They were making their way through those envelopes pretty quickly this morning. Between 8 and 9 o'clock, they'd opened more than 100,000 of them. So that process underway here, and each of these counties assuring me that as they get votes, we're going to see updates on these county-by-county sites, just indicating sort of what that unofficial tally is going to be here in Pennsylvania.
And just quickly, David, this is, of course, also a state which has a critical Senate race. The incumbent, Bob Casey, against Dave McCormick, a former Bridgewater executive. Is there a sense that that Senate decision, whatever party wins, is likely to also be the case of the party that wins the presidential vote there?
There is that sense, but I just want to underline how important this Senate race is. Yes, the path to the presidency historically has been one that runs through Pennsylvania. This is a Senate seat that could determine the balance of power in the United States Senate. And Bob Casey, the incumbent Democrat, has been in the Senate for 3 terms now. He's going for his 4th. He's the son of a 2-time governor of this state. Dave McCormick has run for Senate before in a primary against Mehmet Oz. He lost that primary, didn't get to run the sort of general election for that Senate seat. So he's running again, trying to make a go of it. And we've seen here in recent weeks him narrowing, coming a little bit closer to Bob Casey in that poll. So that's something we're going to be watching very closely here. And as you say, could be really pivotal here as the night unfolds.